Hey y'all, it's Susie. Today we're going to jump in and finish our collection video that I've been trying to do off and on this whole time. I'm going to go ahead and record it now because I did get another larger selection of eyeshadow palette or single shades from Sydney Grace. And I've grew my Sydney Grace collection because part of the plan going forward to kind of help mitigate how much I shop, because I'm not on a no buy. I'm going to buy things that interest me as they interest me, but at the same in the same sense, I don't want to shock buy anything. And I have shock buy. Like as soon as I see something pretty, it's like, ooh, yeah, I need that. No, I don't. I don't need that. So I've got a larger selection of Sydney Grace eyeshadows because Sydney Grace has some of the best single shadows, eyeshadows, period, that I've ever come across. So I have a lot of Sydney Grace, and so I kind of explored it more on that so that way I could have more eyeshadow palettes for it. So I've got an even larger selection of Sydney Grace singles. And so we're just going to go through all of those. We're going to go through all of the Sydney Grace. All right. One of my Sydney Graces, or one of my sets of singles, is the singles that I have from Juvia's Place. And every one of these come back from 2020. So they're all very old. And I'm going to be depotting these. These are all going to be depotted. I've tried using them a few times. They're not at all as good as Sydney Grace typically is. I do still have some Sydney Grace over there in the palettes like I'd seen before, but this was the last of my singles of Sydney Grace, and I'm sure they're probably not completely all horrible, but I'm just gonna depot them. So this won't be into the mix, but all the others will. So that's what we're gonna go with, is we're going to go through all the singles. It's gonna be a top-down view. I will probably, I'm trying to look at my vanity as if that's going to give me the answers at all. But I will probably just move stuff out of the way or whatever and make room to show everything top down. So that's what we're going to go through here. And I'm pretty sure after, I'm trying to brain here. I'm pretty sure after these singles, I think that's going to be all of the makeup. I do have cream products. I've got some Sydney Grace cream eyeshadows. I've got bits and baubles here and there, so we may just kind of toss those in as we're doing kind of a get ready with me's or something. I'm not sure, but they're just kind of scattered everywhere, so there's really no sense in having them for all the other things. And I think that's it. So we're going to do the Sydney or single eyeshadow palette. We'll get through that. And then we should be, from that, should be done with the bulk of my makeup collection. All right, so we'll see you in a little bit. Anyhow, so we're going to start with the ColourPop singles that I have. And starting out, I have this one and this one. And so I also have they're not what they're supposed to be. They're just holding other things. But this is these colors that I was wanting to reach for. So I've got them in this palette to focus on. And then I have these colors that are, it is the Gather Round Sisters packaging, but it is not the products. So these are mostly just the earthy kind of colors that I reach for. And I keep these in here so that way I know to grab them sooner rather than later. And then this is the bulk of the ColourPop singles that I have. And it's, you know, all kinds of different ones. The bigger ones are here. The smaller ones are here. And that's kind of the gist of the ColourPops. I was keeping them pretty organized as far as which ones are what, but it just become too much because in reality, I don't rightfully care what colors it is or where the colors come from. I don't really have a need to know all of their names. It's more for me to be it is more It is more bothersome for me to check down where everything is to when I'm clocking things and, you know, use them. So they're just kind of all pulled together, all stuffed in here. As they get used, they'll get, you know, removed. But for the most part, there is no names. There is no names in here. I do know these are part of the SoFly. I know these are part of Winks or something like that. It's a big old mosh pit. And you'll find that going forward, I am not huge on knowing the names of eyeshadow colors, really. I just use the product that I am interested in. So it's kind of going to be a downside. But these are the ColourPop singles. I keep the bulk of them in these two. And then I do have other ones and these ones. Oh, yes. And also, and then I do have these. These ones up here. These up ones are the kind of maroons that I was wanting to reach for, you know, around the Valentine's season. So that's what these ones and these three are. These two are Aether Beauty, and I want to say this is, if I wanted to remember, I want to say these are BH Cosmetics, if I was to remember correctly. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. So these ones and these ones are the ColourPop ones. All right, so on this one, this has what's left over from that Olive You from Violet Voss. This is the greens from that, and the rest of them are over here. This is the rest of those. This is some Visearts that I'm reaching for, so that's where I keep those two. Viseart will be later, but this is where some Visearts are being kept. And I do have the two makeup geeks that I still have that I haven't even used these yet. So I still need to use them. This one's in a project pan that I still haven't used, and this one just hasn't been used yet. So these ones go with this one, but I'm just not using them right now. And again, Viseart and Viseart and Olive You. Olive Juice? Olive You? I think it's Olive You. So those ones are left of those. Still a little bit on the kind of random bandwagon of stuff. This is also some Olive Juice on these bigger ones. It's her mattes that are matte, warm. The warm mattes for her. And then these two are just random ones that I couldn't fit in the other places I wanted to put them. So it just come in here. Now, up next, I do have two ABHs that were not in the mix because I keep them with my singles. Because to me, they're not an eyeshadow palette. I know they look like it, but to me, they don't look like an eyeshadow palette. So, coming out of this one, this is my singles for ABH. These are ones I bought, and these are from one of those big Norvina palettes. And that's of those. I have some that's over there that I still haven't decided yet if I wanted to keep them, so they're off to the side at the moment. And then this, again, is singles. I don't know that I'll ever use these. And then some more singles, and there are a couple of these ones that I would be interested in, but they stay with my singles because I don't use them as an eyeshadow palette, because to me they don't perform in my ways as an eyeshadow palette. Now the next one that we're going to be using is more randoms, so to speak. These are, I think a couple of these are something different. I can't remember what, but pretty sure these three are something different. Go guess. And this one I want to say is a Zoeva, and I think I need to probably get rid of it because I think I've tried it and it was kind of but I don't use this one a ton. This one, to be honest, I don't use a ton at all. This is where I keep some of my Tarts, some of my ABHs. I have some Lime Crime, if I'm not mistaken, here somewhere. I believe this one's Lime Crime. I just don't use them a lot. I just hold on to them, I guess, because I'm a hoarder. But this one I very rarely reach for, and it just kind of stays tucked away and not really much used. All right, now these are my Viseart singles. And it is full, except for I do have, as I showed you, some singles into a palette to use. But when those singles are here, this gets filled up all the way to the fullness, to the brim, to the fullness, you know what I'm saying. So this is just different eyeshadow palettes that I've tore apart and just kind of making my own thing. This is the dark mattes and this is the light mattes. These two are different, but from here, that way is all singles that I've broke down into just single eyeshadows to use. And again, that is the Viseart ones. All right, we're now getting down towards the last little bits. I will jump and say this. These are all singles that are part of Project Pan. And this one is I think both of these are Sydney Grace, and this is Natastha Denona. So those are singles. That's why they're alone. All right. And now we're going to work with Sigma. And this is my Sigma singles. And this is just eyeshadow palettes that I have broken down over time. This is the ones that fill in the gaps for in here, because it's filled to, I believe it's filled to here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, so it would literally fill the whole thing up with these. And these are single swoops. These are singles that I will be reaching for on my own for the moment. And for now, these stay tucked away. All of my large eyeshadow singles generally stay tucked away. I keep a running eyeshadow palette on all of my brands, and I move through them, and when I'm done with them, I put them back and I get a new turn to turn on them. So Sigma, there we go, Sigma and Sigma. I may have said Sydney Grace earlier, but it was Sigma, not Sydney Grace. All right, and the next turn on these is going to be the Natastha Denona singles. These are the ones that I am currently reaching for on my own. This is the ones on my own. Who else would it be? You know what I'm saying. These are the ones that I'm reaching for to just use them. I want to use those ones up. And it also goes with these ones. Now, again, these ones would be filled up when these were put over there. There are just the ones here that go here, and then this would be filled up. So that's how I keep up with it. I seen, I think it's Andy. I believe it was Andy Does Makeup. That may be her name. I think of her as Andy, but she does little pins along here on hers to be able to easily find them. And I'm working in the process of doing those, but I'm being very lazy about it. I think I got it done in my big one for Sydney Grace, but and maybe the small one, but that's what I've been working on. That way that I can easily tell which ones are what. I want to do it on these and these, so that way I can interchange them and easily find them. So these are just individual 5 shades, and then several of these are just other ones that I had picked up here or there. But that's kind of the gist of them. They're kind of messed up right now, but that's because I've been doing a lot of moving around my singles to get them to where it makes the most sense for me. All right, these are my Sydney Grace singles, and this is the ones that I am reaching for now. These are the ones that are the ones I'm actively using at the moment. So these are put off to the side, but they're from these collection. There we go. Here's this one. This is mostly my mattes. These are the more color variations from my longest, or my lightest to my deepest. And I tried to do them a little bit also in colors, so that way it's easier for me to find them. And then these are all the way to here. All the way to, what is that, 7, 8? This is 8. So all the way to 8 is shimmers. And then 9 and 10 is some leftover matte shades. This is not full at all. I don't use these a ton. These are the darker ones that I only reach for every now and then. This one, I believe, goes a little bit further this way, but I am not exactly sure because it's been a minute. So these cut off over here. There's a couple of them over there that you just cannot see. There we go. For the most part. So for the most part, these are my Sydney Grace singles. Again, I do have one or two tucked here or there, but for the most part, this is all of them. These are the ones I'm using now. These are the ones that I reach for. And on these, I just try to find either an eyeshadow palette that I like or am interested in, or I find the parts of new eyeshadow palettes that I want, and then I find them and put them in here, and this is kind of what I go for. Right now, this is kind of just edging on my Valentine's Day / winter mix. This is the end of my collection. Again, I do have a few bits and baubles that are here or there. I haven't gone through my lipsticks. My lipsticks, I could go through them maybe one day. I'm kind of in the process of using and decluttering lipsticks to find ones that I really enjoy and want to use. It's funny because used to, I did not like lip glosses at all. I did not like lip glosses at all. And now I seem to be buying them and enjoying them. So I want to kind of go through my lipsticks, get rid of all the old ones, get rid of all the ones that I'm not interested in, and get rid of those. Then eventually maybe we can do those, maybe like a mid-year hump, because there are a couple of eyeshadow palettes that I have bought since I've done my eyeshadow palette collection. And I bought a few more. I bought 2 more Sydney Grace eyeshadow palettes. I bought 2 ColourPop eyeshadow palettes. And I don't even know. At this point. I got several ColourPop palettes. So we'll probably have to do a mid-year hump just to see where we're at on here and everything. But for the most part, this is the anything going after this is just going to be kind of the bits and bobs, the little bits. What eyeshadow palettes what eyeshadow singles do you use? I know a lot of people really, really like those very shimmery, like in your face eyeshadow palettes, and I think they're gorgeous to see. I don't feel like they're great for me. I am a pretty down-to-earth kind of gal. Like, most of the time, you're just going to see me and my husband going out on date days, and it just doesn't seem for me to have a huge gimme in your face selection. So to me, I like Sydney Grace's shimmers and stuff. They really hit me good. Lots of other ones that I have, they really hit me good. So while I do really enjoy those in your face eyeshadows that I see other people use, I just don't know that they're for me. So I don't know. I'm just so up and down about it. And I think that's why I haven't made the big purchase to buy any of them, is because until I know what I want, I don't think it's a good idea for me to buy it yet, because otherwise I'll just buy a whole bunch of it and then be like, oh, I didn't like it to begin with. So, I don't know. What shadows do y'all use? Which ones are you keeping? Which do you hoard? Which do you not hoard? What is your shimmer shadow thing? Do you love shimmers? Are you mattes? I kind of like mattes quite a bit. I really do. I've kind of learned to love a lot more mattes. So, all right, guys, we will see y'all guys in the very next episode. We'll see you then.